Hiya, Dr. Alison JK here. Happy Lionsgate 2026. So we had last week on the 29th of July, one of the most important full moons of the year. It landed on what's known as the Day of Miracles, leading into what's been a portal of sorts that we're going to still be in, not only in the Lionsgate, but for a few days after it. So I love telling this story, and I have held Lionsgates events before it was ever really popular, and it's become one of my people's, possibly yours, favorite event, and people make sure to be with me every year on my Lionsgate event. And this year I did one that was for free, and I'll put the link down below for the replay. I just did it Friday night in case you didn't see it. It was actually a free Lionsgate event. And it comes with me talking about what's really going to work now in these energies that we live in now, after someone who's done a whole lot of self-development on the path of this, you call it the spiritual path, the personal development path. Here's the story. The star in the sky, Sirius, S-I-R-I-U-S, absolutely not S-E-R-I-O-U-S. The star Sirius is known as our spiritual sun, for those of you who don't know. And in the ancient days, the Egyptians, when they first saw the rise in the sky, Sirius, they knew that it was marking harvest time. Like most, if not, I would say all of the sacred sites, and I've traveled to so many of the megaliths around the world, a new field has been established over the last bunch of years called archaeoastronomy, because it's been understood now and is increasingly being understood that all of these sacred sites like Stonehenge, like Avebury, like most of them are aligned or in alignment with a certain star. It's very rare it's with the moons. I believe there's one or two in Scotland that's aligned with the new moon. And it's a way to, they have this like program where they can trace back to what the night sky looked like in like 1500 BC, where they can see where the stars were positioned in alignment with the ancient site. And so they worked as calendars for our ancient ancestors. And when the Egyptians, not necessarily in association with any of the pyramids, saw Sirius rise in the night sky, they knew it marked that the flooding of the Nile was coming, and then therefore it was harvest time. And so on the end of that is abundance. So we want to talk about how best to maximize this year's Lionsgate, coming in on the tail end of the Day of Miracles, July 29th, being with a full moon, because there's been the Day of Miracles before. It's a certain astrological alignment called a Cassimi. I don't want to go too far into it. I'm not a professional astrologer. But this year's special Day of Miracles occurred with the full moon. And it was considered the luckiest day of the year. And there's a special, from tuning into all these different Lionsgates and offering energy medicine on the Lionsgates and tuning into the frequencies and bringing them down and in for those of you attending, this one feels different. It does feel luckier than most. And so I want you to think of it as two-pronged. And this is such a great representative of my work, right? So the spiritual component, and another way to say that is beyond the veil, the metaphysical, beyond the physical, and then the physical component, and how to work with what's beyond the veil and weave it into our daily material life in these most intense yet auspicious times we are in of humanity's greatest evolutionary leap, 2012 to 2032, aka humanity's spiritual awakening. So being known as the spiritual sun, Sirius, there's also a lot of spiritual wisdom that can be gained on Lionsgate and around Lionsgate, the day before, a couple of days after. And so standing under the night sky and looking at the stars is a great way to open up and be receptive when you're doing it. And just see what wisdom could come through. And it's not at all that you would hear new awarenesses necessarily while standing under the night sky, but it would occur during your sleep, and then you'd wake up and maybe have a new realization or a new awareness, one in the shower, one on a walk, whenever. So standing under the night sky is a really good practice. And then being really aware, because the energy is going to be really electrical and really charged on Lionsgate Saturday. And I know today it was, I was talking to a woman at the mineral baths where I've been going every day while I am in this regime of, in my summer, always with Lionsgate, I am taking at least 21 days of mineral baths following an relatively ancient ritual for this incredible process of what daily mineral baths do for the body, the mind, and the spirit here. And she was saying the Schumann resonance was going off today, and I don't check this Schumann resonance daily because it is such a measure of humanity's reactivity and its impact on the earth. And how it's felt around the earth. I stay focused on the coherence of the heart and sending that out to the collective. And I think the Schumann resonance can be quite alarming for people. Nonetheless, there's a lot of reactivity happening in humanity now, but in part two, it's a lot of the electrical energy pouring down on the planet. And so if you can think of that, almost, now I'm tying it into the abundance prosperity aspect, almost to the point of, like, especially if it rains in the area where you live on Saturday, Lionsgate, or even Sunday or Friday, and it just did here. There's golden light, and you can think of it like golden coins, or, gold ingots from like the Chinese culture pouring down on you. So it's spiritual wisdom contained in the gold, and gold is a major precious metal in Egypt, everywhere in the tombs, etc. You guys know that. But also focusing on what you'd like to harvest. And instead of being worried about money, project the expectation of harvesting abundance in all areas of your life, not just material wealth. And if you do click on the link I'm going to give you below for the replay of the event I just finished a little bit ago, at the very end there's a recalibration I do using I'm threading the frequency of abundance and prosperity all the way through the event. And then at the very end I do recalibration with a formal clearing and activation for allowing for more harvesting of more abundance. So if you'd like to receive that, you can click on the link below. I know that we have an opportunity tomorrow collectively to really bring in much more grounded serenity and peace and empowerment, instead of feeling like a victim to the economy or the interest rates or tariffs or taxes or your income level or your gender or your socioeconomic status. Just staying vertically aligned with the receptivity opened for receiving the spiritual wisdom, all of this gorgeous golden light, high frequency, really charged. And in that are also transmissions of abundance, tapping into what the ancient Egyptians knew. And so for an example, I go to a specific stone circle in Ireland, and I'm going to be going again soon when I go to Ireland for this year's Samhain or Halloween celebrations, because it comes from Ireland. Halloween originates in Ireland, yeah. And so if you want to even do a little bit of advanced multidimensional work, you can connect back in, maybe look at pictures. I mean, I put one in the Vibrational Upgrade free Facebook group today of the Sphinx that I took last October when I was there leading a retreat to Egypt or in Egypt. Connecting with what the ancients knew, the Egyptians knew, and the harvest of abundance. So I would go to the stone circle that is known for celebrations of harvest time and abundance in Ireland, and thread in intentionally, connect in with those energies, and then offer energy medicine from there to the people working with me in the program, my mastermind program. So what else is possible?